Hey there, it's Hayley Sohn, nutritionist and weight loss expert, and your host of today's podcast, of this podcast. And today we're talking about motivation and where it went. Where did yours go? How to get it back. So, this is what I hear all of the time. I was going along fine. I was losing some weight. And then I just lost my motivation and I've never been able to get it back. And I don't know how to get started again. And I don't know where it went. And what do I do? So, on today's episode, we're really going to dive into motivation, where it goes, how we can get it back. And this is all going to relate to a term and a theory that I've come up with. I call it the GSR cycle. And what that is and how it plays a role in your motivation and in your weight loss. So when I explain when I talk to people who are experiencing this my motivation is kind of gone, or I feel like it's gone, I usually say, okay, so let me guess, when you were losing the weight or trying the diet and it was working, you ate something that wasn't part of the plan, or that you felt like, you overdid it, whatever it was. You had one thing, it was a day, it was a week, whatever. And then your motivation just kind of like fell off and you couldn't get back to the diet, you couldn't get started again. And they're always like, yes. That's when I know they entered the GSR cycle. And that's where they're stuck. So likely, if that sounded like you, if you're currently feeling stuck, if you're currently like trying to get that motivation back, you're probably in the GSR cycle. So I'm going to explain that and walk you through that and how to get out of that, how to get back to your motivation, how to get unstuck so that you can start losing weight again. Okay, so I'm going to break this all down for you. So, where does motivation come from? What is motivation? Motivation is an emotion that we create with our thinking and our mindset. Motivation does not come from something outside of us. We often think that it does. We think that we need something outside of us, someone else, to create motivation for us. But it's really created with your mind. So let's kind of go through this. So we think, or let's say we see a picture of someone who's like in really great shape. Like, wow, they look so great. That would be awesome. I would love to get there. I think I could do that. We get really motivated. Or a friend tells us, I did this thing, it really worked. I lost a bunch of weight. I feel so good. And we're like, oh man, like they did it. I think I could do that. I'm going to give it a try. I'm going to do this. I'm going to really make a change. So, and we feel really motivated. So we tend to think we want to give the credit of us feeling motivated to the picture, to the friend's story. But truly what happened is I thought some things when I saw that picture and I told you what they were. And I thought some things when my friend told me that story and I told you what they were. I think I can do this. Oh my God, that sounds fantastic. I would love to do that. I think I'm going to give this a try. I'm really motivated to go after it, and I want to achieve what my friend has achieved. That's what I was thinking. It wasn't my friend's story. It wasn't my friend's success that made me feel motivated. It was my thoughts, what I thought. So I tell you this because it means that you can always create motivation for yourself by changing the way that you're thinking. Okay. And if you're not experiencing motivation right now, it's because of the way that you're thinking. And what happens, the reason why we lose our motivation, especially in the way that we're talking about it today with GSR cycle coming into play, is that we really step out of all of those motivational thoughts that we were thinking about, like, I'm making progress, I can do this. And we step into a completely different set of thoughts that are part of the GSR. And when we're in that set of thoughts, it's really hard to tap in and find the motivation. So let's go ahead, we'll get into GSR and what that is. That this stands for the guilt, shame, regret cycle. And what is happening is you are going along feeling good, or, I'm using this very specific scenario. This can happen really anytime. And it doesn't have to be a long period of time that you're always stuck in it, but this is what I tend to see is people getting stuck in it for a very long period of time. So we are, eating fine, feeling good, and then we eat something that we didn't plan to eat. We eat something that wasn't part of the diet that we were following. We ate something and we kind of felt out of control. And we really start to beat ourselves up about that. We take ourselves into the emotions of guilt, shame, and regret. Why did you eat that? What's wrong with you? You're never going to be able to do this. Oh, that was the worst thing ever. I feel terrible. I wish I hadn't done that. Ew, you're so gross. Why would you eat that? That was just disgusting. What's wrong with you? Those kinds of thoughts. And we think those kinds of thoughts, and we feel this guilt, shame, and regret. And guess what? Guilt, shame, and regret do not feel good. Being in this place of telling yourself that that was disgusting and horrible, and why did you eat that, and what's wrong with you, and you're never going to be able to get out of this, and you're going to be stuck here forever, that does not feel good to be there. And because we feel so terrible in that place, guess what we do? We eat to feel better. This other part of our brain steps in, this part of our brain that gets pleasure from food. And when we are experiencing a negative emotion, it steps in, it says, I know what's going to fix this and make us feel better. Some food. Because we truly will get this lift, this rush of pleasurable hormones and sensations from the food. But it doesn't last. And so what happens is we feel the negative emotions. We don't know how to manage that. We don't know where that's coming from. We don't know how to get ourselves out of that without food. And so our brain is like, I know how to fix this. Let's get some food. So we get some food, but we don't know why we're eating. We're just eating. And then we're like, oh my God, I did it again. And we go right back into beating ourselves up for it. So when I teach this to my clients, I draw a big wheel. And at the top of the wheel, it's eat something that's not a part of the plan or that we didn't necessarily want to eat, with an arrow going down to the next part, which is beating ourselves up, guilt, shame, and regret, feeling terrible because of what we ate. And then the next arrow goes to eating something to cover up how terrible we feel. And then back to beating ourselves up because we ate the thing. And we get trapped in this cycle of using food to manage our emotions, beating ourselves up because we don't understand where it's coming from. We don't know how to get out of it. We don't know how to manage the emotions without food. It's just what our brain told us to do. And then we're back to eating again. And we really get stuck and we have no idea what's going on. We have no clue. And when you're in this space, how on earth are you going to find motivation or feel like you're capable of losing weight when you're telling yourself, there's something wrong with me? I can't stop eating. Why am I doing this? I don't want to be doing this, but I don't know how to stop. I'm out of control. That was disgusting. I can't believe I ate that. I feel so sick. I feel so bad. I feel terrible. I don't want to do this anymore. How are you going to find a thought like, oh, yeah, I'd love to lose weight. Like, I want to feel so good. I want to look like that person in the picture. No, like we're so far removed from that. And that's where your motivation went. That's why you can't get it back. You are stuck in this other place of beating yourself up and eating to help yourself resolve that emotion, those emotions that don't feel good. And just cycling through that day in and day out. We just start that cycle over and over and over again. And so a lot of times I will tell people this, like I'll say that, like this is where you are. Or does this sound like where you are? And they're like, yes, oh my God. That's where I've been. And people tell me, you know what, Hayley, 30 years ago, I did this diet and it was good and I was feeling good. And then I just fell off and I've never been motivated again to do it, to lose weight, to move forward. They've literally been stuck in this cycle for years. We can get stuck here for years and it can really feel like we're never going to be able to get our motivation back. We are so bogged down in this negative emotion, beating ourselves up, not being able to move forward. So what I want for you is to get unstuck. Feel like you're capable of moving forward, like you can find that motivation, you can create that motivation, you can get out of eating to relieve yourself of feeling bad about eating, essentially. So again, this is what I teach my clients. This is what I'm offering to you. Motivation is created by your thoughts, by your thinking. It's not created by something outside of you. Although you might hear an inspirational story or see a picture and get excited, that can be a part of it. But truly recognizing that the only reason you're feeling motivation is because of how you're thinking in response to that story or that picture is really important, because then you get to own it. And you should own this. This is what my entire program is about, like understanding where this is coming from and how do we get in control of it so we can own it, we can create it for ourselves. We don't have to sit around and wait for something else to create it for us. So this motivation is created by your thoughts and by your thinking. So I want you to think about right now, what mindset do you currently have that is blocking you from feeling motivated? What thoughts can you think right now that will help you feel motivation? And I want to say, I say this all the time. This always comes up when on the coaching calls, when I coach my clients. Someone will come to me and they'll say, I have zero motivation. I can't do this. I feel terrible. There's just no way this is going to work. And I don't know what to do. And I'll be like, okay, how do you think you can move forward and create motivation for yourself? And they'll be like, do I just need to think like I'm amazing and I can do this and I am the best at losing weight ever? Like, no. Can you believe that right now? Like, no. Like, well, then that's not where we're going. You don't need to go from zero motivation to 100% motivation I'm the best at losing weight ever and this is amazing. That doesn't work. What you have to do is take it to a place that you can believe. So if you have zero motivation, how can you tap in and be like, okay, I think that this is possible for me. I might not feel super motivated right now, but I've done this before. There's a part of me that knows how to do this. I think I know what the next best step is. I'm going to try that. Those are so much more positive and motivational than I can't do this and I'm stuck. And yet you can believe them right now. So that's what's really important, is finding something that feels on the lines of motivation or whatever emotion you're trying to create, but it doesn't have to be like fully to the opposite of it. It's just the next best step that gets you unstuck. So thinking about that, and if you're really struggling to see that right now, you can also look in other areas of your life where you do feel motivated. So if you are currently, motivated to advance your career, you're going for a raise or promotion, if you are saving up money for like a trip and you're super motivated to save money and you're super excited and you're like, heck yeah, I'm not spending money on takeout this weekend. I'm going to put it towards this vacation. I'm so like, this is so awesome. You are creating that motivation for yourself in another area of your life. So tap into that. Like, what does that look like? What are you thinking? What are you calling upon in your mind to get yourself motivated? And now bring some of that over to the weight loss. And if you feel like you're in the GSR cycle, this is how you get out of it and how you move forward. First and foremost, recognizing that you're in it, that's what you're experiencing, oftentimes is enough. Usually when I tell people, okay, this is where you are, they're like, oh my God, you're right. Okay, so there isn't anything wrong with me. All of these things that I've been telling myself that there's something wrong with me, that, ew, I can't believe I ate that. Oh, I feel so sick and I wish I didn't and I want it to be different. When I tell them that, they're like, oh my God, okay. And suddenly there's a light at the end of the tunnel. They're able to see where they are, why they're there, and start taking steps to get out of it. And a lot of those thoughts that you're using to beat yourself up over the food, they're just not necessary. You don't need to repeat those. Having awareness around what they are, hearing them when your brain spits them out and saying like, all right, heard ya, not needed, moving on, is incredibly helpful and incredibly empowering. So it's like, and also if you eat something that you didn't plan to eat, you didn't want to eat, why on earth do you need to beat yourself up about that? Think about a productive way to move forward that has nothing to do with telling yourself that there's something wrong or that you wish you hadn't done that or that it should be different. It's just like, yeah, that happened. Every time, I used to be in that cycle all the time, by the way. And now, if I do eat something I didn't plan, that previously I would have really regretted and really felt guilty over, I'm like, okay, this is exactly what happened. I totally ate that thing. I own it. I step into ownership of it. That was my choice. That was my decision. This is what I think I can learn from that. What I learned is that, eating 10 handfuls of cereal out of the box doesn't feel very good. I don't really like that feeling. And moving forward, I'm going to have a lot more awareness when my brain starts telling me to do that. Moving on. Done. I'm done with that. I don't need to think about it anymore. I certainly don't need to beat myself up over it. because I know that's not going to help. I'm just going to move on. I'm going to do the next best thing for me today. What I want today is to feel really good in my body. I want to eat some foods that feel good. I want to get my energy going, and I'm done. I don't need to think about the cereal anymore. And that's what you can do. What happened in that situation? How can you move forward without beating yourself up and just be done with it? Then start working on thinking some of those motivational thoughts. Okay, I know what the next best step is. I know how to do this. I've done it before. One of my clients said recently, she's been kind of in this like nebulous place where her mindset has just been all over the place. And she's like, oh my God, I'm like losing it. And so we sat down on a call and really dove into this. And I was like, give me some thoughts that you can believe right now, even though you feel so frustrated. What can you believe right now to move yourself forward? And she's like, anything I've ever put my mind to, I've succeeded at. I was like, bam, that's incredible. Like just saying that makes you feel so incredible and powerful and empowered and confident. Like, heck yeah. I love that so much. So think about that. Like it doesn't have to be specifically with weight loss. Like she was referring to like everything in my life that I've ever decided I'm going to do, and I've put my time and energy towards achieving it, I've achieved. I had this career. I had this, she was in the military. I had these honors in the military. I was this level of leadership. I did all of these things. I learned these other languages. If I put my mind to it, I achieve it. So it didn't even have to have anything to do with weight loss. It was more like her and her ability to make a change and to create the things that she wants in her life. Tapping into that. And you can do that too. Think about your career. Think about your, like getting through college or starting a family, whatever it is for you. That you're like, yes, if I put my mind to that, like I achieve it. I can do this. Really creating those incredible, empowering emotions for yourself and moving forward, moving on. You can do this. That's how you create motivation, and that's how you get yourself out of feeling guilt, shame, and regret over what you ate. Okay? So that's it for me today. I know that this is going to help so much, because so often it's just having the awareness of what's going on now that allows you to move forward. Okay? You've got this. Go crush it today. All right. If you're interested in working with me, you can join my waitlist and be the first to know when spots open. And you can do that at bit.ly, that's bit.ly/call waitlist. And I will see you there. Bye.